and welcome to episode 9 of our little video series where my friend Pinna and I sit and talk about chapters from the sequel to Konjiki no Gash, which is Konjiki no Gash 2 or Zatch Bell 2. If this is the first video from us that you're seeing, we recommend you check out our little playlist of videos where we cover all of the previous chapters so you can get caught up on things or even want to know a little bit about who we are, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. We had a pretty eventful chapter last time. We got to meet Kanchime's baby brother, we got to see Levi and Hanage-bu, and we got to see Fulgore, so let's find out what happens now that he and Kanchime are together again. Let's get right into our summary. This is chapter 9 of Konjiki no Gash 2. So, the chapter picks right up from where chapter 8 ended, with Fulgore slamming Gozer to the ground while declaring that a hippo, referring to himself, is always at its strongest when protecting its children, referring to Kanchime. Levi watches in shock, noting how Fulgore had done much more than just push Gozer back, and thinks about how he managed to overpower Gozer even after they had separated. She calls out to Fulgore and asks him who he is. Fulgore, shirtless, laughs in return, exclaiming that he is the hero of Italy, Parco Fulgore. Immediately after posing victoriously, the muscles in his body jolt and he realizes how much his muscles ache from what he had just done. Kanchime then declares that he's the invincible hero's partner. Fulgore thinks to himself that this doesn't sound as impressive when Kanchime can't stand up, and we see that Kanchime had exclaimed this while laying on the ground injured. Classic. Levi then finally introduces herself as Levi Zink, the king of beasts. She gestures her hand expectantly to Hanage-bu, who is still near death on the ground from the train having hit him. He doesn't respond. Levi asks him what he's waiting for, telling him it's his turn to introduce himself. She walks over to him and gets on her hands and knees directly beside him, closely staring at his face. Internally, she realizes that Saifojio cannot heal the one who casts it. She then takes his briefcase and casts Saifojio on Hanage-bu, recovering him. This is for real. This is Fulgore's first time seeing this, and he's shocked that they're able to use Tio's Saifojio spell. Same. Levi repeats herself, telling Hanage-bu to tell Kanchime and Fulgore his name. Hanage-bu exclaims that his name is Hanage-bu of Nihao Gomu. Fulgore and Kanchime find Hanage-bu's name funny, as Hanage means nose hair, and Fulgore laughs at him, saying the name Nose Hair Bu is nothing compared to Fulgore. Gozer is then sent after Fulgore and tackles him to the ground. Levi says she thinks they're done, and Hanage-bu smiles. Kanchime stands back up and staggers over to Fulgore, who's injured on the ground. He stares at Fulgore, thinking to himself that this is his cue, and he begins to taunt Levi and Hanage-bu, saying that they don't know yet that Fulgore is a man made of solid iron, and that he's completely invincible. He begins to dance the famous Iron Fulgore dance that he and Fulgore always used to do in the original series, and just like back then, Fulgore springs right back up and joins in with the song and dance. Kanchime cheers, exclaiming that that's the invincible hero, and Fulgore finishes the sentence, declaring his name, Parco Fulgore. Levi asks Hanage-bu what's going on, and asks how Kanchime and Fulgore could have a Saifojio of their own. Hanage-bu tells her that they hadn't casted Saifojio just then, and Levi asks how they got back up, to which Hanage-bu says he has no idea. He asks Levi if they should give it another go, and Levi says that's fine. Hanage-bu turns to Fulgore and smiles, and Fulgore sweats nervously before Gozer is again sent after Fulgore, knocking him to the ground again. Kanchime laughs, telling Levi and Hanage-bu to attack all they want because it won't change a thing. Fulgore, struggling to speak, says that Kanchime got bitten by Gozer as well, and asks if Kanchime knows how much pain he's in. Kanchime goes back to the Iron Fulgore song and dance as Fulgore quivers in pain beside him on the ground before springing up once more. Observing this, Hanage-bu nods his head, seemingly impressed. Levi exclaims to Hanage-bu that they should attack once more, to which Hanage-bu agrees they should. Just as they say that, though, we see that Fulgore and Kanchime are nowhere to be found, and Levi simply states that they had run away. So, want to start off first and say again, Fulgore has only been in the sequel for 2 chapters at this point, and he's already shirtless still, which again, very much approve, but also I want to say I love how right after Konjiki gave his introduction, Fulgore is just, wow, that does not sound as impressive when he's just lying on the ground like that, like, as if he himself didn't just have this, like, huge muscle spasm, like, a second ago, like, okay.
I love the panel of, like, Kanchime's I don't know, like, victorious face of, like, and I'm the Invincible Hero's partner, Kanchime, and then it pans out and you see him doing, like, this hand and arm pose as he's laying flat on the ground. Like, that is so, like, the comedic timing of that is so good.
Yeah. Also, can I just say, Levy Zink, the King of Beasts. Kind of a pretty cool title, if you ask me.
So badass, right?
For real. And again, like, it's such a minor thing, but I do appreciate seeing, like, the consistency of female characters referring to themselves as being or becoming king rather than just saying ruler or queen. Like,
absolutely.
I'm not sure if a lot of people have noticed, but it's always been like this in the original manga, where any demon that talked about themselves in the context of the battle would refer to themselves as being or becoming king, and you could see this in both the original Japanese volumes and even the English localization. Like, it wasn't just the boys who said this, like, none of the girls have ever said queen or even ruler. Like, I'm not sure why, but it's just one of those little details that I thought was neat to see, and it's nice to see that consistency here too. Like, Queen of Beasts would not nearly hit as hard as King of Beasts, if you ask me.
No, I completely agree. And it's like, it's so, I don't know what it is about it either, but it sounds so much better. And I love that Raikou never made a differentiation, like, based on gender, because, like, a ruler is a ruler. Like, the king of the demon world is the king of the demon world, and that applies to all, like, participants of the battle. And so I really liked that he didn't, like, separate it as, like, oh, the girls are trying to become the queen of the demon world and the guys are trying to become the king of the demon world. It's like, no, everyone is in this battle to become the king of the demon world. And I just really like that Raikou, like, keeps it as, like, a gender neutral term like that. Like, it seems so minor, but, like, it does make a difference, and to me at least, it's, like, really impactful in the sense that it's not, like, gendered like that. Like, I really like that Raikou does that. And so when I saw that Levy refers to herself as the King of Beasts, I was just like, hell yeah. Like, we are back, baby. Like, it's so good.
No, for real, like, she is the king for sure. And also, speaking of Levy, I just love, like, seeing how Levy is gesturing over to Hanagebu, only to just see him just completely out of it still. And then on the next page, right after that, you just see her get onto the ground and stare directly at him for a moment. And be like, yeah, I guess Saifoju doesn't heal the caster, huh? And then she uses Saifoju too. Like, it's just, and then right after that, she's just, like, gesturing for him to, like, hurry up, give his name.
I know, the way she just, like, expectantly, like, gestures over to him, just like, and now it's your turn. Like, I can't even explain it. Just the way it's paneled out is just so funny.
No, for real, I really love it too. Like, he's just getting back up, and Levy's just like, hurry up.
Seriously. And like the way it's, like, at first, like, it's a panel of her hand, and then we see, like, that he's still, like, dead on the ground, and then the panel close up of his face, just, he's like he just, like, can't. It's so good. And she's like, what are you waiting for? Like, it's your turn.
No,
like,
for real. She's like, why are you're making everyone wait, come on.
It's so funny.
But also, like, on these pages too, Fulgore's expression, seeing them use Saifogio, like,
yeah,
me too. Like, I'm just as shocked seeing Tio's spell here too. Like,
I know there was something about how I don't remember. I don't quite have the words for this, but there's just something about seeing Kanchime and Fulgore's like reactions to seeing Tio's spell like that just, like, I felt that, like, so much, you know, because it's like I mean, Tio was their ally, like, literally to the very end in this battle and everything, and just to see their, like, shock and confusion and concern and everything when they see that, like, they recognize Tio's spell but in the hands of the enemy, like, I don't know, something about them seeing her spell like that, like, their reactions to seeing that was just so, like, oh my god, heartbreaking.
No, for real, like, Fulgore's expression here is, like, clearly of, like, you know, complete shock, but I still think about Consume's expressions in the previous chapter, where it's, like, not only is he shocked, but he's just utterly devastated.
Yeah, he's, like, crying. He's like, oh my god, that's Tio's spell. Like, what do you guys have? Like, why do you guys have that? It's
literally,
so...
he's just like,
God.
it can't be. And, like, it's so much to process. I said this in the previous video, but again, it's like, it's one thing for them to use a recovery spell in general, but for it to have been Tio's out of any other spell is just so foul.
I know. Like, it's too bad they couldn't have just had some made-up recovery spell that we'd never, like, seen before or something. But, like, the fact that it had to be Syphogio, like, Raikou.
Raikou, we need a word.
I know. I'm gonna tweet at you every day, sir. I'm joking. No one bother Raikou on Twitter like that. That's annoying as hell.
For real. But you know what we mean.
I was devastated.
Oh my god. Also, like, right on the next page too, like, leave Hanagebu alone. He's allowed to have as funny of a name as he wants, okay? Like,
oh god, his name.
Leave him alone.
We'll be talking about that whole name thing in this volume's intermission. Just you guys wait.
We've got like a whole name discussion ahead because it's not just him we're talking about, but stay tuned for that. That's gonna be really fun. But
yeah, genuinely.
I also thought like how it was so funny in these pages too. Whenever Hanagebu is suggesting to Levi that they let Gozer attack again and Levi approves, he's just smiling about it while Fulgore is just so fucking nervous.
I know, he has such a shit-eating grin on his face as this is happening. Like, it's so, like, he's just like, yeah, okay, let's do it again, Gozer.
Yeah,
it's
get him, get him.
Yeah, it's like I forgot like exactly, like it wasn't until I was rereading these chapters that I like got to see Hanagebu like this, because I completely forgot that he was kind of like this during the battle, and it's just really funny to see him just be like, yeah. It's just like, god damn.
He wanted Fulgore. He really wanted Fulgore dead after making fun of him like that. Like,
yeah.
Also, I want to say, like, seeing Consume stand right next to Fulgore really gives you, like, the full context as to just how tall Consume had become. Since Fulgore is, like, canonically 6'2" or something, according to the data books. Like, it's so funny how they're basically the same height now.
That's insane. Yeah, Fulgore is only taller because of his hair, but, like, their heads are the same height.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, seriously, it's just so interesting to look at, because again, like, I've been so used to, you know, original series Consume, since that's what we've had for 20 years, and how he was barely taller than Fulgore's knee, and now he's the same height as him. It's insane. Like, he's so fucking tall. I'm not over it still. Like as I'm going through this chapter, like, it's been like a month or something since, you know, we saw Consume's time skip design, but even then I was like still not used to seeing Consume so tall.
Yeah, he's very long. Like, I mean, all his shirt has like 5 buttons. Like, his torso is long enough for like all of those buttons. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, for real. Also, like, again, I just love seeing this whole bit of Consume just reviving Fulgore numerous times. Yeah. Only for him to be taken down numerous times as well. Like, I missed that whole bit. That was so funny to see here.
It felt like old times. Like, I love the whole, like, don't you know, like, Fulgore is invincible. And then he just starts singing the song, and then Fulgore springs right back up. Like,
and Fulgore is just like, so Consume, please fucking stop. You don't know how much pain I'm in.
I know, and I love how, like, it's literally to the point where, like, Levi is like, do they have a healing spell of their own? Like, how do they do that? And then, like, Hanagebu is just like, I have no idea. Like, it's so funny.
The fact that they were convinced that Consume and Fulgore had used Syphochi or something, because there's no other explanation for that. Like, how else would they keep getting back up? They were so confused.
I know, it was so funny.
Like, oh my god, it's like, this whole bit is so funny, but also thank God that they got away, because I cannot imagine how this whole confrontation would have continued, since again, they don't have their spell book. Consume's spell bottle is gone, so, like, there's only so much they could do here. Like, I'm glad they got away.
Yeah, I loved too, like Boo or Hanage Boo like nodding approvingly
Yeah.
as he's seeing. It's like they're still the opponents, but he's just like, yeah, like that was not bad. Like the way they kept getting up and everything. And I love the panel of like Levy looking up at Hanage Boo. Like it's just so funny seeing her body just like standing like still like that, and her head is just craned up so high to look at Hanage Boo. Just so funny.
She's so short to him. Either that or just he's just like super, super tall. Like it's just I'm looking at the panel too. That's really funny how her head's just craned all the way up just to look at him.
Yeah, and he's so much taller than her, and she's wearing those like high ass heels.
Yeah.
Like, so like she's like short. It's so funny, and I love how when she notices they ran away that she like goes like tisk or whatever.
that
like,
thing she does. I like that.
Yeah, I love that. I had to like Google what it was like called, because I was like, I don't think it's called like she tisks or something, but like so apparently, or at least according to Google, it's like tut. So like she tuts. So like she tuts when she goes tisk.
Literally,
and it's just I thought it was really funny that, because I didn't include that in the previous chapter summary, but she did it at some point in chapter 8 as well, and it's just, I don't know, I just like that it's a fun little character thing that she does. I thought it was fun.
No, for real. Like I was wondering, like at first, like what is she saying here? But it turns out it was that. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I don't know, very iconic of her.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Anyways, let's find out what happens now that Fulgore and Consume managed to get away. Continuing on with the summary. Having escaped, Fulgore is running somewhere in the city carrying Consume on his back. Consume thanks Fulgore, saying he's amazed he was able to find him. Fulgore tells him that when he went looking for him, he ran into a bunch of people who had been saying that some kind of bear monster was on the loose. Fulgore says that he was able to find him once he knew what to look out for. Fulgore tells Consume that he's glad he made it before it was too late, and that he'll get him to a hospital as fast as he can. He then asks if Tio is there with him.
Oh.
Fulgore, unaware of the spells having been stolen and put in bottles, wonders how Levy and Hanage Boo were able to use Saifojio if it wasn't Tio's. Consume looks sad as he tells Fulgore that Tio isn't here, and he doesn't think Gash is either, and that they're all gone. He says that the demon world was attacked by people they'd never even heard of, and says that they destroyed their city. He also says he doesn't know what happened to anyone other than Consume. He then begins sobbing as he says everyone is probably dead, but that he doesn't really know, and we see Fulgore is completely distraught upon hearing this. A bit later at the hospital, a doctor has just finished bandaging up Consume and tells him that he's lost a lot of blood and will have to stay put for a while. Consume thanks the doctor, and a few children who are fans of Fulgore's spot him, in shock to be seeing him in person. The kids run up to Fulgore, and he greets them excitedly. He then turns to Consume, asking where that book of theirs is, stating that the next time Levy and Hanage Boo show up, he and Consume will use Shin Poruku and get them all in one fell swoop. Consume nervously tells Fulgore that there is no book. Fulgore questions this, and Consume explains that Shin Poruku and all of his other spells had been taken away by the people that he had told him about earlier. He then asks Fulgore if he's okay, and sees Fulgore is sweating bullets. He tries to laugh it off and keeps repeating himself when he asks Consume what he means, but it's clear he is panicking and very nervous, and a couple of the children laugh at him repeating his words. Consume, trembling and sweating now as well, says that he had no choice but to come here. He tells Fulgore he's glad he tried to save him, but that he's been really scared for a while now. Fulgore looks stern as he's told this. Just then, Gozer's head passes by the window of Consume's hospital room, and he's staring directly at them. Everyone in the room looks at Gozer in wide-eyed shock, right before Gozer breaks through the window, knocking everyone back as others try to run away. He then slashes at a random civilian's back during the attack. Outside the hospital room, observing this, Hanage Boo tells Levy he thought they were told not to mess with the inhabitants of this world. Levy dismisses this, saying that it was Gozer who was the one doing this and not them, before going on to tell him that he already knows quite well that she's the king of beasts and not the king of humans. We then see a few flashback panels, one with a bunch of spears and torches, another with a pile of beast-like corpses, bloody and covered in arrows having pierced their bodies, and then a third panel of a girl from behind with long hair and wearing a dress, as well as some sort of crown or headband. She also appears to be very bloody and injured. We are then shown a full-page panel contextualizing these 3 separate panels, and we see a bunch of armored soldiers pointing spears at the girl, Levi, in the crown and dress that's torn up and covered in blood, as she is clearly injured, and behind her is a large pile of dead beasts whose bodies are covered in arrows and blood. Presently, Hanagebu says he knows this about Levi. So again, I'm glad
Wow.
I'm glad they got out of the battle, but also and I'm also again glad to see have the fact that Fulgori had shown up in time to help Consume. But as I'm going through this chapter, like, I couldn't help but wonder, where was Consume? Because part of me was a little scared if another fight was gonna happen and Consume shows up during the middle of that. Like I was just thinking about them the whole time with these chapters. I'm like, where is he? I hope he doesn't come back during like the middle of this.
I know, right? Oh my god.
And also, like, Fulgori is asking the important questions here, like, asking if Tio is with Consume, and of course, I guess she's not.
God, I know.
And after reading that, I'm like, okay, where is she then? Like, you cannot just show off her spell like this and not have me thinking, like, she has to show up soon. Like, where is she?
I know. For Kansume's answer to just be, oh, she's not here. I'm like, okay, can you elaborate? But he doesn't know. He doesn't know what happened to anyone other than him and his brother. Like, that's so scary. Like, he doesn't even know, like, if Gash is around. He thinks that, like, it's just, they're all probably dead. Like, oh my god. The panel two of him, like, sobbing as he's saying this. Like, the number of times in these summaries that I have to write, like, oh, so-and-so starts sobbing. It's just like, oh my god, like, this is really intense.
Like, for real, like, the way he's crying here is just it's just so devastating, like, what's been going on. And, like, it's one thing for Consume to not know anything about Tio just yet, as, even we hadn't seen her show up prior to these chapters either, but the fact that Consume is also under the impression that Gash is gone too is really interesting to me, as it just really shows just how nobody knew what happened to Gash, since even his closest friends didn't know what happened to him. Like,
yeah, like they were all separated, I guess, during the invasion or something, which is also scary. Like, they're not even together when this happens. Like, that's so, oh god.
They're not even together either. Like, I'm thinking back to how we see those brief panels showing Gash making some preparations in case of an emergency. And again, I just think it's so interesting how not even his friends know anything. Like, I also feel like Consume having accepted that something happened to Gash and that he was actually gone really speaks volumes about just how bad the situation is in the demon world, as I feel like in any other circumstance, Consume would have probably held out some hope and say something like, I hadn't seen Gash just yet, but I know he wouldn't allow himself to be defeated like this, Like, it's just so sad seeing how hopeless he feels here, as he genuinely believes the worst has happened to his friends, and he experienced for himself what the demon world invasion was like. It's just so sad, and seeing Fulgori's reaction here too, from hearing that, says a lot. Even he knows, like, he doesn't really know the details, but he can tell things are bad this time.
Yeah, it's, oh god, it's intense. Like, I keep saying it, but it's really, really intense. Like, it's
Seriously.
very dire.
Yeah. But also, we got quite a bit to talk about at the hospital. So first thing I want to say, I kind of like how Fulgori looks with this new shirt on. We finally get that redesign we've been waiting for. Secondly, this part's my favorite. My most favorite part the entire chapter. Just the way that right after Consume gets seen by a doctor, Fulgori just so casually suggests to him that they should use Shin Poruku. Like, he is quite literally just telling him that they should just go straight for the nuclear option next time they see Levi and Hanagebu again.
I know, like, this spell that probably, like, traumatized him when he cast it in the original series, and, like, Kansume wasn't allowing Fulgori to let go of the book and everything. Like, it was like, this was probably very scary for Fulgore to use this spell, and he's probably super afraid of it after seeing like what happened, like, you know, in his battle against Gorm and everything. And so it's like for Fulgore to casually just be like, hey, you know what, like, where's your book? Let's just go cast in Poruku real quick, take care of him, and just wrap this up real quick. Like, just the way he just it's insane. It's so funny.
This is the funniest spell he could just suggest to just so casually use.
I know.
And not
like, the
literally
spell
they
that
had
beat
a bunch of
Gash.
other ones, but he's like, let's just go straight for Shin Poruku. It'll be
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, like the spell that beat Gash, like in the battle that Kanchame and Gash had when they were like training to fight Clear or whatever, like the spell, like that powerful spell, he's just like, hey, let's just get the book real quick and just whip out Shin Poruku and call it a day. Like, it's just so crazy.
Seriously? Again, this, like, the last time he used it, it was a complete disaster.
Yeah.
Like, it's just such an unbelievably dangerous option to just throw out there, considering how very quickly Consummate lost control last time. But, yes, I know he learned from that whole experience, but even still, like, with how much worse things are, and, who is to say that whole situation could not happen again? But it also just goes to show how even Fulgore knows how bad things are for him to be the one to suggest it in the first place.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, you brought up a good point too, because like, especially with like the state of mind that Kanchame is probably in at this moment, like if he was like if they had used Shin Poruku, like he might have just lost control over again because how upset he is and everything about what happened and everything. And so like, yeah, just the fact that Fulgore brought that up is just crazy.
It's my favorite part, dude. Like, I just can't say more than enough how funny this is to me. Like, again, out of every possible spell they have, this is the one you want to use first. It's just crazy. And the way that Konchame just tells him, like, Fulgore, there is no book. And then Fulgore's just like, what? Like,
I know.
And he's just sweating hard from that. Like, me too, bitch. I'd be scared too. Like,
I know. She's like Shin Poruku and all my other spells, like they got taken. He's like, are you okay, Fulgore? And his face is literally covered in so much sweat at this point. Like, it's so. I've never seen Raikou depict like more sweat on a character's face. I feel like. Like, it's so, he's so, like, scared to hear this.
Seriously. And I just love the scene, too, where Gozer just shows up, and he is right outside the window.
And, like, looking directly at them, too. Like, his like, pupil is, like, facing all of them. Like, that's so scary.
It's just so funny how chaotic that scene is, because everyone is just standing still for a moment, just staring at him, and then all hell literally breaks loose.
Seriously, and all their eyes are like bulging out of their faces in shock as Gozer just like pops into frame. It's crazy.
It's such a chaotic scene. Like, I do find it interesting how Hanage Boo brings up, like, hey, we're not supposed to mess with the inhabitants of this world, which is really, really interesting. Like,
yeah,
they certainly had no problem doing that in the demon world, so why is the human world, like, kind of off limits for that, I guess?
Yeah, it's like they're literally they're specifically only after the demons, and Belial is like, leave the humans alone or something. It's kind of, yeah, it's really interesting how they've been. I mean, because even with Waig and Gil, like they were not messing with like the people. They were only after the demons, and so it's kind of interesting how they have that restriction.
It's really interesting because, again, like, going into the sequel, I was like, back when it was just, Waig and Gil, I was kind of nervous thinking, like, we have this big problem where, like, they could just cause, all this destruction very easily in the human world, too, and there's no way to send them back, only for them to not really do anything to regular people. And then we see confirmation of that here with Hanage Boo saying, like, this was something that they're told, which is really interesting. Like, I really want to know more about that. Like, why do they have this in place?
Yeah.
But also those flashback panels. Hello, like,
dude, I know,
so...
and we like.
Oh
we've never gotten any elaboration or anything.
Yeah!
Like to this point, like we just got this glimpse of like a past life, I guess, that Levy had. And I mean, I'm assuming this is her as the King of Beasts, because like she has like a crown type thing, but then like a bunch of like army soldier guys like were attacking her and like killed a bunch of beasts or something that, like, I don't know, she's trying to defend them or defend the beasts from or something. It's just like it's insane, and we get no elaboration, no clarification. Like it just, we just see these glimpses of something that Levy had gone through that looks very traumatic and everything. We don't know where this is, we don't know when this is. It's just at some point in Levy's past, and it's just it's insane. And the fact that we just like blip back from that to the present and it never gets addressed again, I'm just like, can I, hello? Like, please? Can I have some more information?
For real, I completely forgot at the time of recording. We have not had any other elaboration on this. I'm like, oh, come on, please.
I know. It's, oh god. And it looks so, it's, I mean, again, it's so bloody and violent and graphic and everything. Like all of, it's like a pile of different beast body, like just corpses, in that Levy is like standing between them and the like whoever these like soldier guys are with the spears and the lit torches and everything. It's just like, what happened? What is going on?
You mentioned this earlier, like asking where even is this and when is this? Like, for me, this certainly does not feel like the human world for obvious reasons, but at the same time, this doesn't even feel like it could have been in the demon world either, since we've never seen animals like this either. So literally, where is this? And who even are these soldiers at the bottom? What is happening?
Yeah, like how many other worlds are we potentially dealing with? Like,
oh my gosh.
Is it just like, I have no idea. Like, is it like, are these sorcerers and cards like just like, is Belial just like handpicking them from different like worlds or something? Like I have no idea where to even like begin with a theory like that, because we still have so many questions that haven't gotten the chance to be answered yet. But it's just like, it's insane. It's just like, what is this?
No, for real, the idea of different worlds existing is just so crazy to me. Like, we don't have that confirmation yet, but at the same time, it certainly feels like it already, because again, this doesn't feel like the human or demon world, like what's going on. But again, like, it's just crazy that we're like the whole, I guess, Zatch Bell universe is being expanded like this, from being beyond just human world and demon world. Like there could be like other things too. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm still begging for context. I hope we get more information on that someday. I hope.
No, seriously. Honestly though.
Yeah. But for now, let's continue on. What happens from here now that Gozer is in the building? Levy speaks to Gozer, calling him her baby, and tells him to build up his strength as he lunges at a child and older woman. Fulgore exclaims Iron Fulgore as he prevents Gozer from attacking them by tackling Gozer out the window, bringing them both outside as they skid on the ground. The people in the hospital room cheer for Fulgore, and he laughs, telling Konchme that he has nothing to fear. He asks Konchme who he sees standing right next to him, and Konchme watches him. Fulgore goes on to say that even if Gash isn't here, even if Tio isn't around, even if the spells are taken away, and even if there isn't a single book left, Konchme still has his invincible partner, the one and only Parco Fulgore, right by his side, and Konchme begins to tear up.
Me too, bitch.
Me too. Fulgore continues, saying that besides, they don't really know if Gash, Tio, and everybody else are actually gone, so in that case, Konchme can be sure they're alive. He asks Konchme if he has any idea how many times they've all fought together, and says that Gash and Tio were the best of them all, except for himself. Fulgore tells a crying Konchme that he'd even bet that his family is still alive, just like Gash and Tio are. Fulgore looks back at Konchme triumphantly, exclaiming that he will take back what they've lost, and Konchme is shaking and sobbing at this point. Gozer rams into Fulgore again, and Fulgore calls into the room of people, telling them to not just stand there, and for somebody to get in a car and crash into the monster. Inside the room, beside Konchme, is a little boy with a large lollipop, and Konchme asks him if he can have it, saying he wants to fight with Fulgore too. The kid, excited that Konchme wants to help Fulgore fight, hands him the lollipop. Gozer slashes at Fulgore and tackles him again, knocking him to the ground, and he goes to jump back inside the hospital room. Fulgore gets back up and grabs Gozer's hind legs, and with an incredible amount of strength, bends himself backward, slamming Gozer into the ground behind him. Huffing for air as he lies on the ground, he begins to get back up again, asking if there's still no sign of that car yet. Hanage-bu states that this is taking longer than he thought, and he asks Levi if she wants him to cast Poruku again. Levi cuts off her other braid and tells him that won't be necessary, and says, "Let's have this little one help us too." As her braid of hair unfurls and begins transforming into another creature, Levi tells it to eat its fill and consider that its reward for taking down Kanchime and Fulgore. Fulgore watches in disbelief as he is faced against Gozer and the second creature, Hylos, a bird-like monster we had seen in the pile of dead beasts in the flashback panel of Levi's past. Inside the hospital room, Kanchime asks himself why he feels a tiny glimmer of light deep inside his heart, and we can see a small glowing light in his chest. As he munches on the lollipop, he thinks about how Fulgore's voice just now had wiped away all his fear and doubt. In a couple of panels of Kanchime running away from Levi and Hanage-bu, he thinks to himself about how when he had run away on his own, he had been nothing but scared, and he had thought that it would be no use fighting, because he was just going to die anyway. He puts his hand on his chest as it glows ever brighter, thinking to himself that this light is telling him to get his dad back, to get his mom back, and to get his older brother back. Upon finishing the lollipop, he tells himself that he's ready now to take back the demon world. He continues this inner monologue, saying that he will stand by Fulgore, right by his side. Then, outside, floating and glowing in front of Fulgore, is their spellbook, open to a specific page. Seeing this, Fulgore begins to laugh in disbelief. Kanchime then makes his way over to Fulgore and stands beside him, asking Fulgore if he'd fight with him, and Fulgore says of course he will. Levi calls out to Gozer and Hylos, asking what they're waiting for, and tells them not to let the glowing book distract them and to finish off Kanchime and Fulgore. Fulgore grabs the book and places his hands on the pages, exclaiming in Italian that it's a new page and a new spell. In a 2-page spread, Fulgore reads from the spellbook and casts Mo Poruku, and beside him, we see Kanchime has transformed. This transformation has given Kanchime a very large head, and sticking out of the sides of his head are short arms, and directly under his head are his feet, depicted as the duck-faced booties Kanchime wore in the original series rather than the duck-faced shoes used in his sequel design. And this 2-page spread of Fulgore casting Mo Poruku is the end of Chapter 9. So,
wow.
Super eventful ending here. Like,
Crazy.
I love Fulgore's speech to Kanchime so much.
Same.
Like, I just think a lot about how in the previous chapter, Kanchime had gone on to talk about how just thinking about Fulgore had given him so much hope to keep pushing through all of these bad things that have been happening, and we see here how Fulgore is literally, again, giving him so much hope to where he felt his fears had all been wiped away, and giving him this new strength to keep going. Like, I seriously love this scene, and I can't say more than enough just how much I love their dynamic, and how seriously perfect of a team they are together. Like, Konchime had gone through so much in these few chapters. Like, we literally saw at first how he was about ready to accept being killed if it meant protecting Consomme, but we see here how it's because of Fulgore's unwavering faith in him and his constant reassurance that he will be there for him and fight together until the end. That is how Consomme is able to have this hope in his heart again. Like, not only will he fulfill his duty to keep Consomme safe, but now he's determined to bring his family and the demon world back. Like, it's so good.
I know. I mean, you literally worded it like so perfectly. I feel the exact same way. It's just so good. Like, seeing Fulgore bring that hope out of Kanchime like that and everything, and like the fact that it was like strong enough to like not only like I guess bring their book to them or whatever, but also for a new spell to emerge. Because we haven't seen that yet in the sequel, like up to this point. Like, I mean, we've seen like whatever the spell bottles can do, but like from an actual demon getting a new spell, this was the first one. And so I just thought that was so cool for like for Kanchome to be the one to do that for the sequel. Like it's just like God, it's so good. It's so good.
Seriously, like, there's so much I could say about the spell, but do want to say first, like, it's very scary just seeing this massive bird monster just show up as if one big animal monster wasn't enough. Like, Fulgori has been fighting for his life against Gozer. Like, the way he's just slamming Gozer to the ground and stuff is so funny, but now that we have a second one here, I'm like, what are we gonna do here?
Yeah, like when Levy cut off the other braid, I was like, damn, she's got two in there? Like two beasts in her hair?
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking crazy.
She's got two this entire time. Like
oh my god, I thought Gozer was like the big the big one to fight against, and then she's like, you know what? Like, let's bring out the other one. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
The second one? And the fact too that this one was like, I mean, it could have just been the same species or something, but like I feel like it's intentional that this one we do see like a monster that looks just like Hylos in Levy's flashback. So it's like, did that get revived? Like, did that one come back to life or something? Like along with Levy, like
yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's just like I'm just so, I mean, there's so many questions about any of that we don't have answers to, but just the fact that Hylos was one that like we can see in the flashback too is just like I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to think of it. It's just an observation that I had, and it's just like it's crazy.
No, same. Like, he is literally right there in that flashback. I think it's intentional. Like, I think these beast monsters came back like with Levy or something. Like, they're like. I still wish we got more information about that flashback, but it seems we still have to wait a while on that. So.
Yeah, maybe 2 years from now.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Also, like, you know, Levy had to flick off both her entire left and right braids to bring these guys out. Like, I knew after she did that, I knew she wouldn't have a secret third one since she's running out of hair to work with here. Like, there's only so much here. Like, but also, like, this page where you can see both Gozer and Hylos right in front of Fulgori is kind of funny to me. Like, it's quite literally Banjo and Kazooie versus a dandelion in front of them.
Oh
like...
my god, that is so funny. Holy shit. Oh my god, Banjo and Kazooie.
It literally.
Jesus, that's so funny.
But also, like, right after that, I'm so happy to see a spell book show up, because I've been waiting for that the entire time, you know. Kiyomaru had revived a bunch of them, so I'm like, okay, they're revived. Fulgori and Conchime need one right now. Where is it?
Yeah, where are they?
It finally shows up, thank God.
I know, like picture just like, I don't know, like Gash and Kiyomaru when they're on the plane and they look out the window and they just see one of the books like on its way to Milan as well or something. Like,
oh my god. They're like,
like, I don't know. It's just like, how long did it take these books to get all these places? Like, it's just crazy.
No, for real. And again, I couldn't believe we got a new spell for Conchime too. Like, it's really interesting how Conchime is the first one to actually get one, like, in the actual chapters, because we do see that new dragon spell for Gash in the Volume 1 cover, but as of recording this, we've still yet to see it.
Yeah, 22 chapters are out, and we have no idea what that is.
Like, that's technically the first new spell, I guess, but Poruku is the first one we see in the actual chapters. I just think that's like, really funny. And the fact that it ended with it, too. Like, it's probably one of the last things I was imagining for what a new spell for Conchime would look like. Like, it's so goofy looking. Like, what could he even do like this? That's all I was thinking at the time.
I know, and I thought it was really interesting how, like, that's why I made a point to mention it in the summary, but I thought it was really interesting how, like, his arms and feet look like how they were, like, in his original series design, like, you know, short, stubby arms and, like, his little duck booties. So I thought it was interesting that, like, this new spell that, like, they have now, like, kind of invokes some of the, like, character design aspects of how he looked when he was, like, 6. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's really, really interesting. And I know, like, when this page came out and, you know, we didn't have any of the other future chapters, I know a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people were already cracking jokes saying how, oh, he looks like Kirby now and would probably have some Kirby abilities too. But for me, I had no fucking guesses as to what Moparuku would even do. I was so stumped, but I was still very, very eager to see the next chapter to get some answers. Like this is a significant, this is like, it's pretty significant that a new spell showed up for them, so this means this is going to be very important for the battle. Like, this could be the key for them winning the battle. So I was like, okay, what can it do?
Become the key to finishing this battle, Moparuku.
Stop.
I mean, hey, you said it first, okay? But no, I feel the exact same way. I can't remember specifically what I said, but I remember it was like the day of before chapter 10 came out, or like the day before chapter 10 came out or something like that, and I made some just like throwaway joke-ish guess of what the spell did, and I was like kind of right. So
Oh my
I'm
God.
really excited for chapter 10's discussion.
Oh my God.
And I can talk more about that because I thought it was so funny. Like, the chapter came out and like one of our friends was like, wait, Pinna was actually kind of right, and I was like, I'm shocked. I don't know I can't believe it. And also, like, a side note, I just really appreciated, I mean, this is something I've always really appreciated about this series with its like multinational, multiculturalness to it. I really, really liked that Raikou had Fulgore like exclaim that it was a new page and a new spell. Like, he said that
Oh
in
my God.
Italian.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought that was so cool because, like, I don't know, I just really, really like how all, like, even in the original series, Raikou always like acknowledged and represented every character's like culture and where they were and where they came from and things like that. And so the fact that like he lets Fulgore, or he depicts Fulgore speaking Italian in this moment is just like, I loved that detail.
No, same. I thought that was such a fun detail too. I really like it. Like, this whole like how this chapter ends is just so good.
It's so good, and it's drawn. It like the pose Fulgore is in looks so cool, and it's just like, it's I can never get enough of like the really cool poses he comes up with for having like the human partners casting a spell from the book. Like, it's always going to look badass, and this is just so good. Like, this is such a great final page, like, and for it to be a 2-page spread is just like so nice.
Seriously, it really gave us something to speculate on for a while as we had to wait,
Yeah.
because again, Moparuku could be anything. It's just, you know, again, for me it was hard to predict, but you apparently got it right. Which is really funny. But it's just yet another really good chapter. It ends off on a really exciting note. Like, we needed to see what Moparuku does, and how does it stand a chance to Gozer and Hylos, like these two huge beast monsters. What can it do against those things?
Yeah, it's like, even though like they have this spell, but like at the same time, this is their only spell. Like, there are no other spells in the book, so it's just like, I mean, I hope this does it, because like if it doesn't, then like you guys might as well not have any spells. So it's just crazy that, like, I mean, everything is literally riding on this one spell. So, like, you know, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Like, it's so crazy, and I'm so excited to talk about chapter 10, because it's gonna be really fun. But for now, I think this will just about do it for this chapter discussion, unless there's anything else you wanted to bring up.
No, I think that's it.
All right, cool. We're actually getting close to the end of Volume 2 in general, which is crazy to think about. Like, after this, we just have 2 more chapters left to cover, I think, 10 and 11.
Yeah.
And the cafe, but I think still, like, we're getting close to wrapping up Volume 2, which is, again, kind of crazy to think about.
I know, but I'm already so like, I mean, obviously we're in really exciting chapters right now, but like I'm already thinking ahead to like Volume 3 stuff. And I'm so excited.
I know.
I'm so excited. And then past that into Volume 4, like it just keeps getting better. Like it it already started like so incredibly well. So it's just like, I mean, this is what it's like to experience Peak every month. Like, honestly, like, I just...
My favorite series, Peak Bell. But anyways, like I've said a lot earlier, I've been really enjoying this volume's chapters, and I am so excited to talk about the next chapter with you guys. If you guys have any thoughts or comments or theories about this chapter or the sequel in general, please feel free to leave them down below. If you're new to the sequel and have no idea what happens next, please also feel free to leave any guesses as to what you think Poruku could do. And, you know, as always, we'd love to hear what you guys think. And I think that officially wraps things up. Thank you all so much for watching, and we hope to see you guys again for episode 10. See you next time. Bye!
Bye!